Hi, I'm Seamless, and this is the 17th 20K tutorial video. This one was suggested by Reddit user Yorunero, and it's a Joe Ford sound, which, yeah, so Joe Ford makes a lot of really awesome sounds, and his track Instrument, which is the one that we were using today, at 1 minute 18 seconds, right, this is basically a fill bass in the phrasing that he uses in the track. It's not the main bass, it's the fill kind of thing, and the sound that I have made is related, I guess, but it's not really that sound. I also didn't really expect to make that sound because, honestly, whenever anyone talks about Joe Ford, I'm just immediately like, God damn it, because Joe Ford makes good sounds. So, yes, I will, however, talk about this sound. So when I heard that sound, I don't really know how Joe Ford made it at all, and I'm sure there's other ways to accomplish the effect that I used, but this reminded me of a thing that I did when I was working with BT, doing our track together. And this was something I discovered through resampling one of my sounds. So I'll do an example. So what I had done is that normally when I do resampling, I'll put a bass in the harmonic and make effects or whatever, and I resample it, and then I will render it out as a sample and then use it to arrange that in the track. However, this time it was suggested that I actually just perform it. Like I actually will just run the sound and play it like it's just a like that, and it kind of worked out. And one of the things I ended up doing to this when I was performing it is automating the detune function, the harmonic detune function in Harmor. I talk about this a lot, and this is actually kind of like one of the first times that I've done it in such a way that it actually worked. So what is the harmonic detune function? The harmonic detune function basically pitches the harmonics independently from the fundamental. The fundamental being the bass note in the whole thing. Now, when it does that, it pitches it up, but it'll spread the harmonics as it moves around, according to the ratio of where it's going, and at some points it matches up, but it creates a kind of an inharmonic, but still somehow related sound. And when I heard the modulation on that Ford bass, it kind of sounded like the results of that I ended up having. Only his was a bit lighter, and he probably didn't use this particular idea to do it, but when I heard that, that's what I thought of. That's what I thought was happening. And so the primary modulation in the bandpass bass was actually the result of similar stuff. So as you see, there's lots of interesting kind of things you can do with that, and that kind of texture in the sound that creates was what kind of reminded me of this other patch that I had basically already made. So what's going on here is that this is a bandpass bass, and so in Harmor I put up a filter and I'm using one of the basic bandpass types. I have a little bit of unison going on with the tiniest bump in the harmonic unison pitch tab over here, which means that these harmonics in the spectrum are going to be pitched a bit more than the rest of them in their unison. There's a bit unison, some spread, and all stuff, and it's distorted and it's epic. And of course, the bandpass is happening. And then I'm also automating the harmonic detune. That's what this up here is doing. You can kind of see this happening. So that's what's happening, and then this green one is the actual filter. And this third one is actually the harmonic detunes divider function. And what this does is because I actually set the base amount to be at 2, which is kind of like a square wave sort of setting. So then I set it so that I can actually switch it, because when you divide it by 2, it means you can bring it back to 1. And it gives it a kind of lower texture because then it becomes back to its original saw wave type. That was the idea, and I didn't actually end up doing that. So I had that there, but that's what it's for. However, what's going on elsewhere is that on top of the distortion and compression I'm doing in the bandpass space, I also have this patcher, which has a bit of a high frequency distortion layer on top, which is a result of having 2 choruses, which are just set to random settings, and then a wave shaper, which is a little bit pulse widthy, and then I cut this is the distortion, and this is the original EQ, but this is the distortion EQ, which adds up on top of the normal EQ to make that sound, and then it's EQ'd again, and then it's compressed wildly. Wild compression that I'm using on the Maximus, as you see, has just really high values in general. But I also turned out the attack on all the bands, and I'll turn out the attack on the master and the ahead on the master. And what this means is that when you have low enough release values, which aren't very low at all, you get sort of like compression distortion, and it's a little bit like actual distortion in the way that it works, but I basically made the settings so that they'd color the sound quite drastically. You can see there's a huge amount of high frequency going on there, and so yeah, that's the basis for this sound. I think I covered all the important parts. Yeah, I'm not going to include this harmor because that's a resampled sound that I had done for something else, and I really just wanted to illustrate where the sort of metallic pitchy sound that I went after came from in my mind, which I honestly don't think that's what Joe Ford went for. But I just can't talk about anything he does with any kind of certainty. Like, I don't want to, I can't be like, I know what he did. This is what this sounds like, and so that's what it means. Because what do I know, really? I also noticed that in a lot of the tutorials I've already done, people have pointed out blog posts from the artists that I tried to emulate, being all like, oh, this is what I used, and this is how I did what I did, and it's not at all what I did. And I don't it's been a while since I've actually tried to find an artist and be like, how does he make this sound? How? And then just stalk all of his posts. I used to do that. It used to be me. But not doing that anymore means that I'm not really in the know for stuff that and I'm racking my brain trying to do something ultra complex that's not really necessary to do something that they ended up doing that was actually way simpler. So that's my fault. That's my problem. But this is what I got for that. It's not really, a super wonderful example of the sound, but man, Joe Ford's a beast. So yeah, this will go up, and moving on. Yeah, having fun.